If they want to support me, great. If they hate me because I'm making money off of my content, I probably don't need them watching me anyways.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Cypress Room, where we dive deep on influencing with integrity. This is a podcast for creators, and I'm Meggie Honeycutt.
And I'm Christina Muscari.
And welcome back.
Welcome back.
Well, to start off this podcast, before we do anything else, we have to share some fun news with y'all. And that is that we are now monetized on YouTube.
We're monetized. Yay!
Yay!
That means we got 4,000 watch hours and we have over 1,000 subscribers. So thank you to everyone who has watched our videos. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button and coming back. It was a huge milestone.
It is a huge milestone, and we are celebrating because, we worked, 9 months?
Yeah.
9 months of putting out consistent content.
And we don't get a lot of views, guys. We don't get a lot of views. Our average watch time is somewhere between 5 and 9 minutes for the hour-long podcast. That's not very high. Mm-hmm. And we don't have a ton of views either. So I was just like, Meggie, I don't know if we're ever going to get monetized, but it just, we just kept showing up. We just kept coming back. And we are monetized, and only about 2% of YouTube channels ever get monetized.
I know.
So,
and we're part of it now.
We're part of it. And should we tell everybody how much we have made?
Yes.
Because we've been monetized for a little over 30 days.
Yeah.
And in that 30 days, we have made $34.26 as of today.
Right.
Yes. That is $34.26 we didn't have 30 days ago.
And we can only go up from here.
Every little bit helps.
Yes. So thank you to our subscribers, to those of you who have faithfully watched or listened, because you helped us meet that first big milestone.
Yeah. And to celebrate that milestone, we feel like one of the things that kicked us into high gear to get more on track was starting to do interviews, because we looked back at the videos we were making, and our most successful video of the channel is our very first episode, which a lot of people turn into. But the second one after that has still gotten the most views, that still gets views today, that we got the best feedback on, was our interview in person with Katie Scott, one of my dear, dear friends who I love so much, YouTuber and furniture extraordinaire. And so we were like, we can't be at Haven for a year just waiting to do interviews. So how can we make this work? So we, really dug in, did the research, have had a lot of trial and error, and figured out how to do remote interviews. And they have just been, I think, a life source to us, and I feel like a life source to you guys, because you guys are always showing up in the comments and want to know about these creators and how they're making it work, and they have such amazing stories. So today, in celebration of getting monetized, we wanted to look back at our interviews, pull out our favorite clips from each of the people we've interviewed so far, and just revisit them. If you haven't maybe watched all the interviews because you didn't know who someone is, this is a way to get to know someone in a shorter clip.
Yeah.
And just look back and celebrate all these amazing creators we've had on and what they, have brought to the Cypress Room.
Yes, interviews have been such a fun thing to do. I have learned so much. I've been blessed by every one of these people in a different way. I love that we can look at all of these creators. They're all successful in their own right, and not one of them has done it the same way as the other. Mm-hmm. And it just goes to show that there's no one formula to be successful as a content creator. There's something you can learn from lots of different creators and kind of take it and create your own success out of that. So it's going to be really fun to revisit.
And before we play our first clip, I feel like if you're watching us on YouTube, there's something else we have to address.
A dress is what we're dressed in. And that is, not only did we get monetized, but we created a Cypress Room merch shop, and we are wearing
our merch.
Our Cypress Room merch today, and I love it.
I love it too.
I was so impressed with the quality.
Mm-hmm. It's all printed on demand. It is housed on Spread Shop, which anybody who's on YouTube and gets into their partner program can utilize that. So we're utilizing a tool that YouTube provides for us. And they have great brands. Like the shirt that Meggie's wearing is Bella and Canvas, which I am a big proponent of and love. When I used to be in marketing, I went to that brand over and over again because they have really good quality. And our sweatshirts are actually Champion, which I really love. Nice. It's a nice brand. And so we're wearing some of our merch. It's available to purchase. It is linked directly to our YouTube channel, so it's very easy to shop. You'll see everything populate at the bottom of every single video that we have, and you can just click there, and it makes it super easy to shop.
Yeah, just another way to support our podcast and us as creators.
And in full disclosure, we've in the past 30 days, we've put out 4 podcasts and we've made $30. So, it's not free to run a podcast. Yes. It does cost some money. We have equipment. We have our time. We also have lots of tools and services that we pay for. So we would appreciate your support if you want to support Cypress Room and rep us. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. The easiest way to support us right now is continue watching our videos because we're monetized, as well as support us by representing Cypress Room and buying some merch. So yeah. And it's approved. It's Cypress Room approved. We're wearing it.
It is.
And I actually have been obnoxiously wearing this sweatshirt over and over again because I like it so much. Me too.
Okay, well, let's get started on these interview clips. And first up, now this was our first interview guest, and we really started it off with a bang with Lilly over at the Furniture Doctor. Mm-hmm. And she was so fun to talk to. She is young. She came up
lots
really
of energy,
quick, so much energy, so much focus, so much drive. But what I loved about our interview with her is she feels very strongly about income transparency, which I think is really unique. It's really awesome. And she is out there showing people what is possible if you put your hand to the work and just get started as a content creator. So let's watch Lilly talk about income transparency.
I felt when I was posting these videos, specifically like furniture flip profit breakdowns, I would post like what I would have paid for the supplies, what I paid for the piece, and what I sold it for. And I would get a lot of comments like, oh, she makes all of her money from content creation. And so I thought to myself, well, I do. Like, reality is I do. And I'm not going to hide that. That's like a huge part of my brand, my income. I'm not going to walk around like I make 6 figures from flipping furniture all day by myself. Like, that is really hard to do. And so I'm not going to pretend like I do that. And so I made a Instagram reel about a furniture flip and content creator breakdown. And I added what I was paid by a specific, I never said what the brand was, but I'm sure you could scroll back and figure it out. And so I included what I was paid by Amazon affiliate, sales after that, regular affiliate, Google or TikTok Creativity Fund, and what the brand deal was. And people saw like, oh my gosh, she walked away with like $4,000, $5,000. And so I felt really good. I was nervous to post it, but afterward I felt really good. And I felt really good to be that transparent. And people loved to see that. And so I realized like there's not a lot of information about this for anybody, for even me to kind of determine rates or like what are these people actually getting paid? Like what is behind all of this? So I felt like that kind of brought my audience closer, and I felt closer with my audience as well, because I felt like I was being really honest. I felt really good about being transparent, and I've continued to do that. And I think that opens the eyes of people that are flipping furniture that they can do this as well. And I think it just showing them that if I can do it, literally anybody can do it. Like I am nothing special. I am just creating stuff on my iPhone. Like this is not anything crazy. It doesn't have to be crazy. Like you can do it too, and you can get these deals. And so
I love this, and it's something that I've been doing, slowly over the past couple of years, because when I first started in the industry, nobody was talking about rates. Nobody was talking about that they were making money off of their content. And it's just, everybody knows now. So why are we not talking about it? Why do we feel like we have to make it private? Because what happens in your content is you become like an actor almost, because you're hiding this part of your life and hiding this part of your livelihood. Yeah, I'm flipping furniture and I made $300 off of it, but like on the back end I made $2,000 from a sponsor, and you're acting like my lifestyle is supported by this $300 furniture flipping. It feels like inauthentic at a point. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like an open book type of person, so I just want to be fully myself, fully transparent, fully authentic, and show up as myself. So I love that creators like Lilly are doing that as well. These up and coming like youngsters that are just starting out are like, hey, I'm just going to start out as fully myself and let people know and let people into all of my business. And if they want to support me, great. If they hate me because I'm making money off of my content, I probably don't need them watching me anyways.
Yeah, I loved her point about how the transparency has created connection with her audience. And I think that's very true and probably has been a contributing factor to her success in this space. And, you know, I do like that mentality of, I'm an open book. Let me show you what's possible here. And maybe it doesn't look the same as Lilly, but she's showing people like, look, here's what I did and I made money off of it, and it's possible for you too. So I appreciate that messaging. I like the transparency. I'm also just a nosy person who's very curious about the world of content creation and what different people are making. So I thought that was a really fun conversation to kind of understand her thought process and why it's important.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like it combats the thing that's going around where people are like, I make this much money off of affiliate marketing just by doing nothing. And it like weeds those out by like how much information she's sharing. It's like, well, clearly like this is true. Like you see her doing the work, you see the brand in the thing. So you know that it's real and you know that she's not just trying to sell some course or something like that.
Yeah. Or a get rich quick type of scheme. Like you can see a lot of work goes into what she does and she's rewarded by the compensation and she shares it.
And my favorite part is that you can just show up and be fully yourself and not have to be like what you think people want. Like you can show up as fully yourself, share everything that you feel comfortable sharing, and it is what it is. So I like that you don't have to be like polished and picture perfect and stuff. You can just show up as you are authentically and be received that way. I like that. I like that trend. Let's keep going in that direction.
I like it too. Okay. So good. Okay, who do we have next?
Kyle.
Oh my goodness.
One of my faves.
Our interview with Kyle was just so much fun.
He's fun. And Meggie you'd never really met Kyle before. No. And it was our second interview. So we're like, oh my gosh, we're still like stressed out. I'm like, listen, Kyle is going to carry this interview. We're barely going to have to lift any weight. And it was true. He did the heavy lifting.
He did. Yeah. And he kept us laughing. And he also, I love his approach to content creation. And the fact that he doesn't necessarily have a huge following, but he is killing it in the brand deals. And that's what this clip is about. Kyle got his first huge brand deal with less than 3,000 followers.
So it's not all about the numbers, you guys.
About the numbers. Let's watch Kyle.
I don't want to work for free. And so I set that boundary with myself very early in this, that I was not going to do a gifted partnership. I wasn't going to do a product exchange partnership, that there was going to be a minimum dollar amount that I was going to charge people to create content for them, and that the content that I'm creating has value, and that my audience, that if they want to reach it, has value. And so that's when it kind of, the gear shifted. And then I went to Haven, the conference in Atlanta. And when I was at Haven, I realized that all these brands want to work with people. And so I knew Home Depot was going to be there. I was like, no matter what I do, I am like courting Home Depot when I'm here. I'm going to talk to them. They're going to know who I am. And one day they're going to want to work with me. And so I did. I met the team there. I spent a lot of time trying to connect and network with them. And then 2 weeks after that, they sent me an email and they were like, we met you at Haven. We would love to work together in a paid partnership. What are your rates? And here's what we want you to do. And I was like, oh my God, it worked. It worked. How does that happen? It just worked. And so not only was my first partnership paid, but it was Home Depot. It was this aspirational brand that I wanted to work with forever. It's a place that I've been shopping at for a decade, somewhere that I already had brand loyalty, and my integrity is really important. So I was like, this is perfect. I told them my rates. They said yes. And them that one time, and then they were like, hey, do you want to do a holiday campaign? I'm like, yes. And then another. So then before you knew it, I had 3 on the books by the end of 2021 with Home Depot. And those 3 were paying me more than I was making in a month at my really decent job as an analyst. Yeah, it was 3,600 people followed me, and Home Depot was like, you want to work with you.
That's incredible.
And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it.
So I misspoke. It was 3,600 followers.
That's wild.
And he got a multiple, 3 brand deals in a year with the Home Depot. And so I I just think that was such an encouragement for any smaller creators out there, that you don't have to have a big following to get big brand deals. And not only that, I do love that he resolved in the beginning to ask for compensation.
Yeah.
He knew intrinsically his work had value. I think before this clip, he talks about he had a mentor who really kind of encouraged him in that his work has value and that he should be compensated for it. And I love that he had that resolve going into these negotiations with big companies, and the confidence to ask a big brand like Home Depot with a small following, like, let's work together.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to shoot your shot. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with starting out a relationship, especially when you're starting from zero and you've never done a brand partnership before. There's nothing wrong with doing a product exchange and then see if it turns into something. Mm-hmm. But like, you don't have to. And the worst that they can say is, no, we don't have any budget to pay you. And then you can decide if you want to do that product. But I mean, he starting out of the gate of being like, no, my content is worth money. It's worked well in his favor because I feel like it projected him faster in being able to get these brand deals. And he makes a very valid point. He put in the work. He wasn't just, he put in the work with Home Depot. He went there, he was talking to him. He wasn't just like, I love your brand, I'd love to work with you. He was very intentional about how he approached them, tried to create a relationship, tried to talk to them about what they like, what they're looking to do. Don't just go up and talk about yourself, but like, what are you looking to do? Oh, this is how I think I could work into that. He's just also very good at that as well. And then he did such a great job on the first one. Of course they want to hire you for more. So it's just like, having the ability to be like, I'm worth something, and then doing a great job, and then them wanting to come back and hire you again.
Yeah.
It's just,
I like that he described it as courting them.
Yeah.
We've said that before, that brand deals, it's like dating.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get that first date,
yeah,
you're more likely to get a second or third.
Yeah, because when I went to Haven, I had no business getting any brand deals. I had no following. I had barely a following, and I wasn't consistent creating content. But I had 2 people that followed back up with me, because when I went to their booth and talked about them, I didn't just like talk about me. I did talk about me and I showed them my stuff, but I used to be in PR. I used to like have to set up booths and stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, are you tired? Do your feet hurt? I used to do this. Like, I just value so much what you do. And, you have to make it about them too. People don't want to, like, would you want to go on a date with someone who just like talks about themselves?
No,
you wouldn't. So keep that in mind, like, when you start courting a brand, that, ask them thoughtful questions, ask them how long they've been in that position, ask them what they do in that position, because they're just hearing people come up to them one after the other being like, this is why I'm great and you should hire me. And maybe nobody's asked them about how are you doing today? Are you tired?
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about that before. Like, the best brand deals we've been a part of start with like a relationship with a person.
Yeah.
Like, they're a person.
Right.
And these are often really cool people, like, who there's so much more about them than just the place they work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think approaching it from that perspective can often get you a lot farther than just going up, like, word vomiting your whole background to them without approaching it like a conversation between 2 people.
Yeah.
But something else we should mention about Kyle, and you guys should totally watch his full interview, is that he was also really good at engaging that small audience, which was a big factor in his success too. Kyle is very good at engaging people through stories and DMs, and he is very involved with his following. And so I think that if you are a smaller creator, it would be great to watch Kyle's interview, because he has so many tips on how he cultivates that following and those relationships, which in turn have made him really successful with these brand deals. So
yeah, and he's going to be teaching a course on that at Haven this year. He's officially a Haven speaker. So I know we've talked about Haven so much, but it's in July in Atlanta. And so definitely check that out too, because a lot of the people that we have interviewed on the Cypress Room are going to be speaking at Haven.
I know. So cool. Okay, so who do we have next?
We have JC, who I love, because JC is not, a lot of the people that I know, that we have been able to interview on this space are because they're in the DIY space and I've been able to network with them at events. And JC is actually completely outside of that realm. He's a finance guy and he is like a huge short form creator and really blew up on TikTok and has made a lot of money as well on YouTube Shorts. So it was fun to have somebody young, fresh perspective that's not in the DIY home decor space. And what are we going to look about him sharing?
He is going to talk to us about how he hooks the audience with short form content, creating that hook.
Which he has really good hooks because I know his highest viewed short is 60 million views.
Wow.
60 million. That's a lot.
From the start of my short form, I've always I did a lot of formats before I ended up doing red flag, green flag too. That went well. And I realized the trend with a good format is that you're asking a question that the audience can play along with. Like someone at home could answer the question of like, is merging bank accounts a red or green flag? They can actually answer that themselves. And also I realized people on TikTok and short form love having a visual because in any short form video, the first frame of that video is like super important. So if you can communicate some kind of message and open up someone's curiosity, like literally with the first frame, like you see someone standing with a red and green flag and text saying, your man wants to merge bank accounts, then you gotta want to stick around to see what's happening.
He's just really good at creating short form content that is like catchy, that like hooks people right away in that first second and keeps them watching. And he cuts out like the filler and the and he finds a way to just get the really juicy nuggets, squeeze them all together and get people to watch all the way to the end. And I think that's why the algorithm constantly like pushes out his content and keeps pushing it, because it's just like so much information packed into just that like 20-30 seconds. It's wild.
Even though he is a finance creator, I think this advice can be translated to lots of different niches as well. When he talks about a visual, I notice a lot of people putting text right at the beginning, whether, maybe not a red or a green flag, but text.
A question. Yeah. So they know what's going to be answered.
Yeah.
As if you don't tell them in the first 3 seconds, which it's hard. It's hard to get out like, this is what I'm going to tell you in 3 seconds. So sometimes maybe just having the text. And a lot of people sometimes are watching content without the sound right away. Yes. So thinking about adding that text is a good idea.
Or even captions sometimes. I know we talked about this earlier today, though, when you're doing a before and after, saving the after till the end and hooking them with that before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But sometimes the after is like, how are you going to get that? And so they hang around to the end. So it's just, again, it's trial and error really playing with it. And the interesting thing, since we interviewed JC, he's definitely transitioned. Like, I think maybe he rode the wave of this really successful format video that he had. And then either he's like bored or just ready to move on to something that is going to give him more longevity. I know he's been trying out long form content more. So it's interesting to, see just because something worked one way for a season that maybe it's time to move on and try different things. So I love that he's exploring and he's not kind of pigeonholing himself into one box. But definitely his short form content has taken off on multiple platforms. So he's a really good person to go take a look at. Maybe if you're feeling like a slump in that area and just want some pointers on how to make your content look better.
And he really, the thing I thought was so interesting about him in our full interview is that he really studies this craft and looks to lots of different people to see what works, what doesn't, what catches his eye, and really has a good thought process in how to create content that's going to spark the interest of people. So I thought that was really interesting too. He just has a different way of approaching it than maybe a lot of the other creators we've talked to. So definitely check that out if you are wanting to learn to create short form content that hooks people
and
first second.
Yeah, and he's just one of those people too that is very young and like just starting out and figuring out this thing and kind of setting himself up for like, how can I make this long term? And I just love that we're seeing that people aren't just like taking the success that they have in and just be like, well, this is great and it's going to last forever. Like, he's very forward thinking. And so if you're someone who's just starting out or you don't even know what you're doing, I think he's like a good example to follow of like, how do I even get started in this? So I love that about him.
Yeah. All right. So next we have our friend Erin Marshall from Live Pretty on a Penny. And she had so much wisdom. She is a creator who has been in the game a long time.
A long time. Before short form video was a thing, before Instagram had videos.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time.
And she has been successful at this and for a while. And I love in our conversation with her, we talked a lot about longevity in this industry, if I can get the word out. And one specific thing we talked about is not getting sucked into the comparison trap. And I thought she had some really good practical ways that she pulls herself out of getting into that comparison cycle.
I do get caught up in comparison. Like I wouldn't be a human being if I did not. I get caught up in that and it's like, oh, they're doing it. What? Is my time over? I get caught up in that because I told you the way my brain works. It's the anxiety, honestly. And so with that, I have to take a step back and say, is this true? What you're thinking, you're running this whole play-by-play in your head. Is this true right now? No, it's not. Or if I get caught up in scrolling and say, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, shut it down. Move on to what I need to be doing.
I love Erin. She's so
she's so real,
matter of fact, and just this is what you need to do.
And she
Sometimes
doesn't tell
I need
you
someone like that.
She doesn't tell you what you want to hear. She tells you what you need to hear.
Exactly.
And I've always loved that about her. And I've heard her speak several times. And the first time I heard her speak, I was like, I have to go up and tell her. And it was basically that same thing. And I love that it just rings true like 5 years after I first met her. And I think and she's someone who's speaking from a place of authority because she's still here. How many times has she probably gone through this comparison cycle? And I love the fact of, we're still going to feel those thoughts. So don't brush them off and be like, well, I shouldn't be thinking that. No, she recognizes, hey, I'm feeling this way. Mm-hmm. Is this true or is it a lie? It's probably a lie.
Yeah.
And my body's lying to me. I'm making up these scenarios. I don't even know what's going on. And all I can control is me. I can't control any of these outside factors. And honestly, like the thing where I have seen like the biggest blessing in this area when I'm feeling that jealous feeling is to be like, no, like I need to celebrate this person. Yeah. I actually should message them and be like, hey, I just saw this. I just saw that you got this huge brand deal. That's so awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Because that's what they honestly deserve. They deserve to hear that. And whatever's lying to me in my head is like, there's not enough for you. You're not good enough. You did it. And I'm making it all about me when this moment shouldn't even be about me. It should be about celebrating somebody else. And then after you do that, then it gives you more like ability to believe like if that happened for that person, that can happen for me too. And that was meant for that person. That wasn't meant for me. You can't go around thinking everything's meant for you because it's not. And then you're walking around from a place of entitlement, and that is just a dangerous place to be too.
Yeah.
So I just love Erin.
I love her too. And it's just so practical. Just shut it down. If you're scrolling social media and starting to feel a certain type of way, she's right. Just shut it down, get rid of that lie, and focus on what you're responsible for. Stay in your lane. And I agree, like celebrate people. Yeah. Because if it's possible for them, that means it's possible for you too. And there's enough success to go around.
And I guess I'll go a little bit further. If that person's not your friend and you don't even enjoy following them and you're not in a place where you can bless them for getting that, you probably should mute them.
Yeah.
Not to be mean or hateful, but like it's not bringing you joy and it's actually sending you on an unhealthy spiral. Maybe you need a boundary from that account and mute it for a while.
Yeah.
And maybe in a few months when you feel like going back to it, go back to it.
Yeah. I've had to do that before.
Yeah.
Just to protect your own peace. If you feel a certain type of way every time you're seeing certain people or accounts or whatever, shut it down, mute it for a time until you can get to that place where you can get excited for somebody.
Yeah. And just know that what's meant for you is meant for you and what's meant for someone else is meant for someone else. And there's enough.
There is enough.
I think that's the number one lie that we believe, that there's not enough. And yeah.
And I think being able to move through that process we're talking about is a key to longevity in this industry, just like she was saying, because the other interesting thing about Erin is she still works a full-time job.
I know,
so
which I did not know until we interviewed her.
Because she likes it and enjoys it still, I feel like it was 10 or 11 years later.
Like yeah.
And that says a lot to me that what she is doing is working, because this is still just like a side hustle, hobby, fun thing for her this many years later. So whatever she's doing, it's working. I trust her advice.
I know, love her. Okay, next up is I keep saying this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. I love all these people. Next up is someone who's just so smart and doing things differently, I think, than a lot of the other guests we've had on, and that's Stefana. And she is, I guess, what you would call a link girly, if we're going to like label people. But I think she's so much more than that. She has transitioned to a spot where what she is providing her audience is links. And that's what they are coming to her for, mostly in home decor. And she has figured out a way to make it work. And this is something that can work for people that maybe aren't doing these huge projects, that aren't, a DIYer, that just are really good at spotting deals and like linking and like all the analytics of looking into what did I get people to click on and not click on. It's just another way to make money if you're not wanting to do brand partnerships and do storytelling and all of that stuff.
Yeah. And the thing about Stefana is she's like curating home decor for people, because she has a certain aesthetic. It's, to me, very luxurious. So it's like, if you're clicking on her links, it's a high quality but affordable item. And you can look at it in her home and you would never guess that like it's from Amazon or Walmart home.
And it's a service people need, because I keep like, my rug is from Stefana. I got a piece of art that she recommended. It just takes the guesswork out of, for me, I'm like, I know she likes it. It looks great in her home. I'm going to try it out.
And she has a certain style and taste and like level of quality that she...
And she's aesthetic, and most of her stuff is neutral, which I like. So it works for me. But it just shows you like you don't have to be a storyteller to be a content creator. There's a lane for everybody. And so in her clip, she's going to talk about the importance of repetition and how you think that everybody sees all of your things, but they really don't. And it's a good clip. So we're going to play it right now.
Repetition is actually a cornerstone. People shouldn't be afraid to repeat. They have to lean into it. And yes, it's that spotlight effect again. We think, we're the center of the universe, and whatever our little bubble we're in, we don't realize it's a bubble when it's just a little speck in the grand universe of people sharing all sorts of things in a huge audience of potential billions of people that are on this app every day. So yeah, you think, the universe is the 20 people that you follow, and you follow each other and you all share the same product. When in fact, it's way beyond that. Every time you share something, someone has seen it that hasn't seen it before. Or there's a Christina out there that needs 5 times convincing that this rug is awesome. Absolutely. And yes, it's like a child eating broccoli. You can't give them broccoli one time and expect them to like it. I think 10 times is actually how many times it takes for the palate to accept it. So whether it's 5 times, 10 times, continuously seeing it in my house over and over again, seeing that I bought it 2 times, 3 times. These are kind of affirmations that the audience needs, reminders to eventually make that sale.
So I think this translates whether you're a link girly or not. So definitely go watch her whole video if you want to learn more about how do I become like affiliates be my main thing that I work on, and how do I get people to, click through and all those things. She has so much great information for you. And actually I'm part of her mentorship to glean and learn from her, because she's just so smart in this area. But I think the importance of repetition translates to no matter what content you're creating.
Yeah.
Because I used to be under the mindset of like, I put this YouTube video out of this furniture flip and everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
And it's not true, you guys. And you can make a reel and repurpose it with music. You could do a trending sound. You could do a before and after. You can do the whole process where you narrate the whole thing. Those are 4 different pieces of content. The likelihood of somebody seeing all of 4 of those is so slim to none.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I even can say this in long form content, because I didn't have a video the other week and I was like, I want to repurpose something that I've already done. And what's something that did well, on short form, but didn't necessarily take off on my YouTube. And it's my IKEA hacks. I have 3 IKEA hacks that I did over the past 2 years. So I pulled all 3 of those IKEA hacks together, because I know those do well on YouTube. It's a searchable term that a lot of people do. Put them, package them together. the older videos had ads in them. So I pulled those ads out because they were sponsored videos. Shrunk them down a little bit, but not too much. Maybe cut out any part that I felt was filler. It was a 30-minute video, just repackaged with at the front of it, put a different intro on it saying like, hey, maybe you don't want to go searching for furniture, but you want to make something over. You can actually really customize IKEA furniture, and it's really accessible and affordable. And here's how I did 3 of them. That video is doing super well. And it's like not new content. And I think typically I get anywhere from, 15 to 30,000 views on a video. And that one has like 65,000 or 70,000 views and growing. And it's completely 100% repurposed content except for a new intro and maybe an update on each project where they are today.
Yeah, I love that she said repetition is a cornerstone, because it gave me even a freedom as I'm managing other people's Instagrams, because you're right. Only a certain amount of people see each one of your pieces of content, and you can repurpose one piece of content 5 different ways. Mm-hmm. But also as a consumer of content, I appreciate repetition, especially from my link girlies, because I am the person who needs to see
went up
5 times. Because I'll see something and say, oh, I like that. Maybe I'll come back to it. Mm-hmm. And then I come back and it's not there. But then I know.
Or you forget about it.
And then I love when people like Stefano will mention it again. I'm like, oh, yes. Okay. I need to remember that. So as a consumer of content, I really appreciate the repetition as well.
And I love that spotlight effect she talks about. Like people know everything that is going on. You know everything you've posted it. You probably know when you posted it, who liked it, whatever. Nobody else knows that. Like, even if they liked it back then, they probably don't even remember watching it at this point because of how much we scroll every day. So don't be afraid to repurpose that content, really juice your content and get out as much of it as you possibly can.
Exactly. I love it. Such good advice. Who do we have next?
We have my dear friend, Dani. She's one of my closest friends that I talk to every day. She's in my community that I talk to you guys about of content creators. And I just met Dani like last year at Haven, and she told me about this thing that she was doing. Oh yeah, I'm earning money on Amazon and I don't even like post that content on my socials. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? So this is called Amazon On-Site Commissions. And if you want to deep dive again, you're going to have to check out the full video with Dani on what this is. But she is just going to, in this clip, tell us about on-site and how she makes money. Yeah, the income potential that you can get by just basically making review videos and posting them on Amazon.
So we saw the potential of that it could make money. And so we started filming like crazy. And I think I should have had my stats out, but that first full month we made $500, and I was like, okay, that's awesome. And I think at the time we had about 40 videos. Fast forward a year, we kind of went all in. We're like, this is how we're making money. We're going to still keep creating furniture flipping content, but not with as much vigor, because that wasn't really paying the bills. Amazon started paying the bills very quickly. And fast forward a year to May the next year, and we made $25,000 in a month. And like,
it's shocking.
$25,000
shocking.
In a month.
And she honestly has not been making as many review videos as she used to, and she's still passively making income each month. She has said, in full disclosure, because she has a course in a group that she runs on Facebook, is that she thinks the days of making $25,000 in 1 month are gone. Amazon is constantly changing things. They constantly change things in their affiliate program and cut rates and move where your videos are and stuff like that. But she is still making passive income off of videos that she made like a year ago. And but I'm telling you guys, she put up thousands of videos. So it's a case where you have to like keep putting the videos up to build that base up to get that passive income from it. But we have another friend that is in our close friend group that we talk every day that really has taken Dani's advice to heart. And she's earning, I think, like $1,000 to a couple $1,000s a month on these review videos. And I have another friend who's put up a bunch of review videos that's making money on the back end too. I put up 4 and then I quit because it just wasn't, I didn't enjoy making them. So I didn't. But Meggie has made some for Cypress Room.
I have made some, and I think I've made $40 maybe.
And you go like this with your nose, but that's more than we've made on our actual influencer storefront.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't have that many up.
No.
You have like a dozen.
Yeah, maybe a dozen.
So, but that just shows you the potential of like, if you were able to put 1,000 up, you probably could be making $1,000.
I guess to me, I just look at 1,000 videos and I think, wow, it seems very daunting.
I know, but I have a friend that like, she showed us her process and how she does it. And she'll go over to a friend's house and film like everything in their home, probably like 50 items. And then she has a streamline for how she edits it. So it's like, it might be your thing.
Yeah.
I think we've found out that it's probably not our thing.
No, but it is. I mean,
but every time you get something, you could just make a 3-minute review. They don't have to be good.
Yeah.
And just put it up there.
Well, and
just
I think it's perfect for creators who are already making content in reels. You can just put your reels up there and make, even if it's $100 to $500 extra.
Yeah.
Just for throwing up a reel you already put somewhere else.
Yeah.
It could be worth it to some people.
Because they don't all necessarily have to be reviews. And that's mostly when I remember I am putting up my reels and tagging the products that are on them if they're available on Amazon. And I don't even know how much I've made, but it's not a lot. But it's like, it would have been zero if I didn't put them up. I think it's maybe like $50 a month.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something.
Some months, maybe not as much.
But I think it's a cool option for maybe people who aren't interested in posting on social media, but still want to earn some extra side hustle income.
Yeah.
Could be a great option for them. So
so check out that full video if you want to learn all the details on how to get started.
She gives all the details.
But again, look at like all the people we've interviewed. Each person has a special skill set that they are really honing in on and running in their lane, and they're making money. But it's all different areas.
All different.
So you don't have to do all of these, guys. I want to give you freedom.
Yes.
That you actually can't do all of these. But if one of them is sticking out to you, be like, oh, like I really resonate like that. I love storytelling. Maybe you're a Kyle. Oh, I don't want to be on social media every day and in my stories, but I do like making videos and I love reviewing products. Maybe you're a Dani. So
I know.
We got a lane for you.
Exactly. We should talk to somebody who only makes UGC content, because that's another thing.
We need to find somebody. Because like in my dream, I'm like, maybe that's what I want to do is just do you. Because I do like making content. And maybe when I retire from being forward facing, I can just be a hand model and do products and make fun videos. Yeah, we do need to find a UGC person.
I know.
All right, put that on the list.
Okay. Next up, we have Vanessa Bahena, a first in house, which it's pretty recent for us.
Yeah, and it was like an hour and a half interview.
So much fun. So much fun. So in this clip, Vanessa is going to talk about what it was like being a Latina in the DIY space and the importance of like her finding community and representation.
As someone who is a Latina in this space that is very hands-on, DIY, I realized that when I would look around or when I would look at a magazine, it wasn't an instinct to be able to list people who I felt reflected in, not just from a skill level, but all like walks of life, physically. There was not a person on HGTV that I could just go, oh, that's an example of where I could end up. And from the cultural like issues on diversity and inclusion point, that is very obvious. It's not news to anyone. But all that technical talk aside, just the feeling that you get when you realize, like, if no one has made it that far, can I actually make it that far? Like, you just end up thinking that. And unfortunately, sometimes our brains are not very kind. And so the answer is, yeah, you probably won't. If no one else has done it, then I don't know why you would be any different. So having Monica kind of be a trailblazer in that space and create a space for others to see people like them doing well, not having crazy numbers, but doing well and feeling successful was so impactful for me. It made such a difference to know that I had a resource of a person who understood what it was like to move through this industry in my shoes. It made a huge difference. And now, while the school is open to anyone, it's not specifically focused on diversity or inclusion, we have built this community of others understanding that experience when they come into the industry. And so you either choose to be someone who is transparent and helpful and a mentor and just a resource, or you choose to be someone who is there to talk about more diversity and inclusion issues. There's just a place for everyone.
So having a space like this where we can have people on that come from different walks of life, that believe different things, that look different, that have different experiences, I knew it was powerful, but when Vanessa was on, specifically this clip, it just hit me how powerful that story is, how powerful that message is. She talked about, growing up and having homelessness in her life, and like how she brings that into her content. And, me being a white person, I've never looked around and be like, I don't see represented here. And I think having spaces where different people can come together and share their experiences are powerful. And we need to listen. We need to listen to people's experiences and not think that everything is the same and have that spotlight effect. Well, this is the way that everybody grows up, because we have so much to learn from people. And she talked about how that helps her show up when she doesn't want to show up, because she's showing up for like little Vanessa that didn't see herself in the world that she was growing up and didn't know it was possible. And man, that's some deep stuff, and it's just so powerful.
It is. And I love how right before in this clip, she's talking about how pioneers like Honeycutt, House of Esperanza really showed, that was who showed her. And now she's showing up in this space as
the multiplication effect.
Yes, as a Latina DIY. And it's like that ripple effect. If Vanessa encourages one more person in the Latina community to come up, it's like, that is what is so cool about social media and about stories like hers, because, we've talked about how content creation can be isolating, but then when we share stories like this and you can see the direct impact that showing up in these spaces can have on other people, that's so powerful. And I love that she's representing for her community because of what somebody else did before her. And there's going to be a whole line of people like Vanessa who do the same. And, that is the power of social media. And I love that that's also a place where it can be used to make a positive impact on the world. And so I thought it was so valuable hearing that perspective.
Yeah.
And I love that that's why she shows up even on hard days. And that's her why. That's a
very powerful
why.
Yeah.
So it's really neat. It's a very special conversation. I had the hardest time choosing clips from that one. In fact, we didn't just choose until...
We were just not arguing. We were just like, I don't know which one. They're both so good. They're both so good.
Vanessa is so full of wisdom. She has such a unique experience, a life experience, and the way she brings it into her content is just so special. So definitely check her interview out.
And she's wicked smart. I have to just use that phrase because she's so smart. I mean, her and Stefana, I both use that term. They are just wicked smart. And I think the reason they're so successful is because they've been successful in other areas of their life and they just do things with excellence. And so if you haven't checked out these whole interviews, we're really selling you on. Definitely go listen to the full interviews.
So our last one is our most recent interview.
This was another really special one.
It was a very special interview with Shae Manning from Free Spirit Equestrian. And you guys, this was an example of me shooting my shot because my daughter and I are huge fans of her accounts. And I just emailed her and she was so kind and gracious to say yes and sit with us. And let me tell you, she blew me away. Shae is so smart, so dedicated, so passionate about what she does. And there is so much we can learn from her. But I specifically chose this clip because it really left an impact on both of us, I believe. And we were talking about operating out of your core principles, your mission and value. And one of the things that she really talked about is how she has monetized her passion, but it is still her passion. And she doesn't do anything. Nothing is calculated of like, oh, I'm going to get this horse because it's going to go viral on the internet or it would make for good content. She truly loves what she does. she does it out of that passion and just happens to record it and put it up on the internet. And I thought that was it was a light bulb moment for me, because I think that's not generally how
we get twisted out here in the world.
Twisted. And she has been very, very successful. If you haven't watched her interview, she has created 3 six-figure businesses, 3 separate businesses, all revenuing over 6 figures individually out of this passion and out of her love of creating content around her passion. So let's watch Shae.
But my actual mission at Free Spirit Equestrian is to find horses in need from all walks of life and work with them for 1 to 5 years and then eventually rehome them. And I do this because it's not a rescue, right? Rescues are getting rescue horses in. Oftentimes they're super emaciated or they need rehab. And once in a while, I will take in a horse like that. But I'm not a nonprofit. I do not take donations in order to fund my horses. It is all self-funded. And that is true to my core. So I do this because there are so many horses out there that may not be in a great situation, or maybe they are in a great situation, but they just need more miles and more experience, or they need a lot of training. And I work with them and then eventually rehome them to a perfect family or home so that I can help the next horse. So that is my actual whole entire purpose of what I do. And that's why on the channel, you see a lot of, my daily life, but a lot of the training and the horse's story. So it's all about the horse. And I stay true to that. And, there's been a lot of situations that have come up where it's like, sometimes, you want to lean towards this or that. But at the end of the day, I'm always sticking to my mission and my values. And I want to say, I never do anything because of the channel. Like, I don't sit there and go, wow, I'm going to buy this horse because they're going to be great for my channel and blow it up.
Wow.
I never, ever, I honestly don't think I'm like capable of thinking that way, because what I do is so true. Like, I can't fake what I do here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fake this. Like, I have to go out and take care of the horses every day and bust my butt. And we're not millionaires. Not yet. But I'm just kidding.
I think you're well on your way, girl.
I know. That's my goal. Just so I can help more horses. Like, that's all it comes down to. Like, I don't care about like fancy this, that. I just want more horses to help. Whatever. But anyways, like, just staying true to that what I'm doing, it's because I love it and because I care about the horses and their success and to better them as much as I possibly can. Like, even when I bought Lumiere, he is a really beautiful, fancy, expensive horse. But I didn't go, wow, if I buy him, I'm going to get so many views. Like, I bought him because this has always been a horse I've been very drawn to, and his personality was great, and he needed some work. So I'm like, I can get this horse and work with him. And he's one I'll probably end up keeping because he is my end-all, be-all dream horse. But I never once was like, oh, he's going to generate income for me, so many views. No, because you can't depend on that. If you think like that with YouTube, you're going to, I guess it could happen, but you're going to be dissatisfied because you just never know how videos are going to perform. So I think if you want to be like a content creator, you need to be true in what you're doing and not have any expectations, because it changes so much, and just be authentic.
I mean, it spoke to me because I'm a YouTuber. Shae is a YouTuber at heart. She has success in other areas, but because she makes good content. So I just related to her so much. She just like spoke right to my heart. And if I'm being honest, I have made decisions in the past of like, I'm going to do this project because I think it's going to get views and not because my heart was necessarily in it. Or I was trying to do what was popular or whatever. Like, I've definitely stepped out of those bounds. And so it wasn't condemning to me. It was convicting of like, really look at why you're making content. Go back to your why. My why was to encourage people that you don't have to have any skill and you can just try to do things. And if you fail, it's okay. You just get yourself back up and dust yourself off. And it doesn't matter what anybody says about what you're creating. Just do something like with your hands and see what you can do. And I sometimes get trapped in like, well, I'm supposed to be an expert, or I'm supposed to be this big furniture flipper, or I'm supposed to be this, I want to get the most views. I want to have the the highest click-through rate and all those things. And so it was like a gut check for me to be like, if you want to last in this industry, I don't have the caveat of that I'm not dealing with animals. I think they're just pieces of furniture. So I don't, but I love that because she's dealing with living, breathing creatures and the honor that she has for them. And the fact that I would be doing this anyways if the cameras weren't on. Is just like a heartwarming thing, and it shows to me why she's so successful and why she has the views that she has, because what she does is so very, very niche.
I don't know. It was a gut check for me because you can look at her and the way she approaches content creation, and even though her mindset isn't like, I'm going to do what's going to get the most views, she's still getting tons of views.
And I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have never seen Shae before or seen her channel. I hadn't seen her until Meggie showed her to me. And the health of her channel and the views that she gets for what she's doing is mind-blowing to me. And it honestly gives me like so much excitement, because if she can make something so successful that is so niche and so specific, I feel like anybody could.
Oh, for sure.
On any topic.
And I think a lot of that has to do with how strong her why is.
Yeah.
I mean, she really operates out of a passion for what she's doing with these animals and her writing program and all of that. And it was very inspirational.
Yeah. I mean, we could have talked to her for 4 hours and we cut it off at 1.5 hours.
Yes.
So if you guys have not seen that interview, please go watch it.
Yeah.
It was a very special day for Cypress Room as well, just because I felt like she spoke so much life and encouragement into us as well. And when we get those moments where the people that we have on like speak life and encouragement into us, I'm like, this is what it's all about. This is why we're here. This is why we're showing up. This is why we hit record, because there is a human connection.
Yes.
In these videos, like, you are called for a purpose, and like, it's not all just noise and it's not about making money. There is like something deeper that's going on like in this content creator space. And so I'm just so thankful for Shae and just the life that she gave us that day. It was one of my most joyful days on this podcast set.
Really was.
And it was really special. And so I hope you guys, if you haven't watched it yet, if you go watch it, and that you can feel that during that content, because it was beautiful.
It really was. And I have to say, even just going back over these interviews, I'm just like overwhelmed, like with thankfulness, like
how generous people were
said
with
yes
us
to us, and
for sure,
for the amount that I learned from every person. I feel like there were some definite marked moments, but every person encouraged us in one way or another. And just their yes really impacted us. And I feel so thankful that all these very successful people said yes to our little baby podcast and gave up 1 or 2 hours of their time to like sit with us. And I don't know, I'm in my feels.
I know. And, I do have to say this too. Like, I am proud of us. So I want to say I am proud of you, friend, because I think doing this remote interview thing was really overwhelming. We've had a lot of setbacks. We've recorded in the wrong format. We've had drifting issues. We've had almost every time we get on, we think, okay, the audio is set up correctly, and then something's different. So we definitely have had to been flexible. We have some content that it doesn't look perfect. We're not happy with the way that it looks. We mess up, but guess what? We just keep getting back on here. We keep inviting people, and we keep shooting our shot for these pie in the sky interviews. Because I just think there's so much to learn from all these content creators in all these different areas. So we are out here trying to secure interviews. If you guys have any, ins with anybody, if you have like a
hook us up
brother or something, I don't know, if you're like a super fan of somebody, we'd love to have them on. So if you have any ideas for us, leave them in the comment box. You can always email us as well, or DM us on Instagram, and all that information is down in the description box. Let us know who you want to see. Thanks for being part of this process. But I had to just say, like, I'm proud of us, friend. This was a hard thing, and we're still walking it out. We're still figuring it out.
We get a little better every time.
We do.
We figure something new out every time.
Yeah,
I'm proud of us. Yeah, just put one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep doing it. Oh. And I think Shae says that in her video. Yeah. She's like, I'm just not going to quit.
I'm just not going to quit. That's
us.
Yeah, that's us.
We're just not going to quit.
We're here.
Keep showing up.
All right.
That's the best thing we can do.
Okay.
So let's talk about our favorite things.
I mean, can we just cheat and be like, our favorite things are our Cypress Room merch?
Sure.
Can we do that?
It is my favorite thing. Although my favorite thing, too, are my new green
Oh, okay. You can talk about those.
That I got specifically to go with my Cypress Room merch.
Okay.
You know, green is one of our signature colors.
Okay.
And I actually was influenced by you for these leggings.
I know.
These are from Amazon, the CRZ Yoga Butter Lux.
Do you think it's crazy yoga? Or is it just CRZ yoga?
I don't know.
I thought it was like crazy, like it's CRNZ, so crazy. But maybe it's not.
It's just crazy or CRZ.
It's like your Cuvier.
I don't know.
We don't know how to say that.
The Butter Lux 25-inch leggings.
That's funny.
Very soft. Very similar to a higher end legging that I have purchased before. Really liking them.
Okay.
Love that there were lots of colors to choose from. And I don't think I would buy a high end legging in a color. I'd probably.
Yeah, that's a good idea because then you can buy colors that are on trend, and when you're kind of over them, you can just get a different one.
But it goes so nicely with my
nice
black and white merch.
Well, I've had mine for at least a year or a year and a half, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think the fabric holds up as well as a Lululemon, but it's a quarter of the price.
I was going to say you can buy 4 of them.
You can buy 4, and I'm still wearing them. They do pile. Is that the word? Peel or pile? How do you say that? They do a little bit more than I think than the Lululemon legging, but I like them. I still wear them. I love them. Yeah.
This is my first pair.
Yeah. Well, I'll come up with something because as I'm sitting here and staring at our Sony ZV E10, I'm pretty sure I finally have got that down. As a content creator, I switched to a Sony when we started doing the podcast for reasons of it can film for a really long time. I used to be a Canon girl, and this shoots in 4K, and it was just time for me to move into 4K. But so I have been slowly using this camera now on my YouTube channel. It took me a long time to transition because I was like, I'm so used to the other one. But it is a lot easier to create content with this camera because it has an IntelliShoot feature. So you don't have to mess with the lighting and all of that. And it does it like perfectly for you. And I've been using that. And I'm just someone who knows how to set my lighting and do my meters and my ISO and all my stuff. And if you don't even know what I'm talking about, you'll love the Sony camera because you can just click that Intella feature and it does it for you. And it also has this feature when you're doing vlog style. It has like an anti-shake to it. So when you're doing your upfronts and you just want to hold it and be casual, you can tap this button and it'll automatically blur your background too to give you like that cool blur background effect.
I love that.
So as I've been using it, like just last week, I was thinking, man, it's so easy for people to create YouTube videos now. You don't have to go watch 100 different videos on how to have your camera settings dialed in. You could with this camera dial in your settings, but honestly, as someone who knows how to dial in your settings, I go to those features over and over again because they're easy and I don't have to remember how to do it. So if you're shopping for a camera, it's around somewhere between $700 and $900. They run deals on it, so I think when it's on deal, it's around $700. But I think on average, it's like around $900. So we'll link that down in the description box. We like it, and we have it in white because I think it's cute.
Well, you didn't even mention my favorite feature.
Oh, your favorite? What's your favorite
soft
feature?
Skin effect.
Yeah, the soft skin effect.
Yeah,
I don't think guys use that as much, but we sure like it.
Well, I sure like it. My 43-year-old face loves it.
All right, so we'll link all that stuff down in the description box for you, as always. It's just another way to support Cypress Room is by clicking our links and purchasing things on Amazon that you were already going to purchase anyways. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate your support. And until next time, we'll be back with another podcast soon for you. See you next time in the Cypress Room.